All right. Hey, good morning. I'm Gilbert, and I am teaching to you from today from Bend and Zen Yoga Studio. It's another studio I teach at in Nashville. It's primarily a power yoga studio, similar to Shakti, where I also teach. Power yoga is very popular in the Nashville area. And so today, one of the styles of power flow that I'm going to teach is the Baptiste style. And if you're familiar with Ashtanga, the beginning is going to feel very familiar. And then it kind of deviates from there. So some differences in a Baptiste style class, you'll notice maybe in the cueing. So their philosophy on the cueing is more to teach to the high end of the room, the more experienced students, and allowing other people to kind of look around the room so that way they can figure it out. So you're empowering people to figure it out a little bit more on their own, as opposed to giving them more information, which isn't necessarily the way I like to teach, but it's just an interesting philosophy. So their cueing, the way we learned with your yoga flow, is more of breath, cues, and then the posture. And in a Baptiste class, they'll call the posture, and then they might not even say the breath, or they might not even say the cues. But if they do, it's posture, breath, and then just a couple of cues to basically give people the similar shape, but they really prefer for people to look around and learn from their neighbors and to kind of just feel through it as they get into the postures. So I am going to teach 45 minutes based on that. And I'm sorry for the confusion last week if you were tuning in last week, because I got confused with the time zones and all the stuff. And yeah, anyways, so we're doing that today. And thank you for joining. So to start, we'll start in a child's pose. Toes together, knees wide, and forehead on the mat. And here, just begin to settle into your breath. Firing up your Ujjayi breathing. So using the muscles that you would to whisper, this will bring constriction to the back of your throat. And just notice the texture of your breath. Maybe notice the raspy quality. And just allowing your breath to be louder than your thoughts. And really just giving yourself space to feel without thinking so much. So as we move from pose to pose, not necessarily worrying about it being perfect, but just allowing yourself to keep moving through no matter what comes up. And 3 more breaths. One more breath out, then rise to a tabletop and tuck your toes, down dog. And bring some movement to your down dog. This could be your first of the day. And maybe come up onto your tiptoes. And maybe stretch your calves, rock your heels left or right, stretch through the sides of your body. And so the Baptiste class is a set sequence, and it's set up for a 90-minute class. And we'll just be doing 45, so I'll be abbreviating the sequence. And then if you'd like the entire sequence, I'll post it in the comments. And when you're ready, ragdoll, tiptoeing your way to the top of your mat. And gently rock and sway. And the nice thing about this sequence is it's just a very well-rounded class. Nothing too fancy or tricky, but just a solid one to kind of keep in your back pocket. One more breath out. Go ahead and release any grip you have and unroll slowly to a standing position. And shoulders up and down your back. Palms face the front and sweep your hands high. Bring your hands together down to heart center and step your feet together. Give yourself a moment to set an intention. If you don't have one, I just ask that you approach with an open mind to maybe doing something new, to trying something different. And just being open to the experience of all that entails. So maybe a little bit of confusion. There's always going to be a learning curve. But showing yourself grace. And again, just remembering to breathe. So even if you take breaks, just stay concentrating on your breath. And if you want to modify or add a variation, I just ask that you do so mindfully. Staying here for one more breath out. Then inhale, mountain pose. Reach your hands to the ceiling. Now here, ground firmly through both feet. Tuck your tailbones. Feel the lift in your chest and feel the extension up and out through your fingertips. And one more breath in. Forward fold, breathe up. Halfway lift, breathe in. Shift your weight to your toes and exhale. Hands to the mat. And inhale to plank. Now options here, if you want to modify, come down to your knees. You can stay in a plank pose. You can go straight to down dog if you want to skip a vinyasa. But if you're ready, shift forward 2 inches and lower chaturanga. Up dog, come onto the tops of your feet. Shoulders back, heart forward, crown of your head high. Knees and thighs off the mat and press into your hands with shoulders away from your ears. Take another breath in. Down dog, breathe out. And 3 breaths in your down dog. And inhale to your toes. Exhale, top of the mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Mountain pose. And forward fold. Halfway lift. And chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. 3 breaths. And up on your toes. And travel to the top. Halfway lift. Forward fold. And mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift. And vinyasa. Lean back in a down dog. 3 breaths. Usually there's anywhere from 3 to 5 some A's, 3 to 5 some B's. And after that, you start holding poses a little longer. Rise up to your tiptoes and travel to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, breathe in. Fold, breathe out. Inhale to chair. Now you take your variation. That can be arms straight up out of your shoulders. That can be hands wide. That can be hands at heart center. And knees and toes in the same line. And then if you can, a little more weight to your heels, the shins, draw back. Chest stays lifted. Slight tuck here in your tailbone. Take one more breath in. Forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift. And chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Warrior 1, right side. Right foot forward, ground your left heel. And you're squaring up your hips. Now it can feel like a big movement, going straight from down dog all the way up into warrior 1 with 1 breath. If you need to for yourself, feel free to lift your right leg and step forward, break it down as much as you need, but just know that's going to be the movement. So left hip forward, right hip back. Strong in your base, pressing down, squeezing in. One more inhale. And exhale slow. All the way through chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog, left side, warrior 1. And find your footing. So if you want to be more stable in your warrior 1, feel free to shorten your stance and feel free to widen your feet. If you want more depth, just lengthen the space between your front and back foot. Hip square to the front. Really active through your back leg. Feel the lift here in your fingertips and sit low here in your hips. And one more breath in. Hands to the mat, vinyasa. Chaturanga. Up dog, down dog, 3 breaths. Now up on your toes, hips to heels, lift to your hands, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, 1 breath, 1 movement, chair pose, and fold. Halfway lift, and chaturanga. Up dog, inhale, down dog, exhale. Warrior 1, breathe in, and then chaturanga, breathe out. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down, left side, foot forward, warrior 1. Ground your right and rise, and exhale, hands to the mat. Up dog, down dog. And breathe in, and out. And up on your toes, look to your hands, exhale, jump. Halfway lift, and fold. Chair pose, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale, chaturanga, exhale. Up dog, down dog, right into warrior 1's right side. People feel like they're rushing here. I usually cue to slow the breath down instead of speeding the movements up. So this way everything stays more intentional. This way they just keep moving without overwhelming themselves. Being back in a down dog, that was your 3rd warrior or sun B. And breathe in. And out. And inhale your right heel to the sky. Now bend your knees, stack your hips. Option 1, stay here. You're taking a flip dog wild thing. Rolling to the outside of your left foot. Ground to your lift and open. I'm breathing 5, 4, side plank on the right knee, 3, 2, and 1. Right hand down, roll to the outside of your right foot. Left arm to the ceiling. And you can modify here by lowering your right knee down to the mat. Maybe even coming onto your forearm. 1 more breath in. Vinyasa, left hand down, chaturanga. And up dog. Down dog. Left side, leg up. Bend your knees, stack your hips. Again, feel free to stay. And flip dog is wild thing if you're ready for it. Ground, lift and open. Breathe 5, 4, 3, side plank on the left and 2, and 1. Left hand down, roll to the outside of your left foot. We'll breathe 5, and 4, 3, 2, right hand down, lower chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. Right leg up. Now exhale, low lunge. Crescent, breathe in. And pause and settle into your crescent pose. And square hips, back heel over your toes, front knee over the ankle. And bring your hands to heart center, lean forward. And take a breath in, now revolve crescent. Left elbow to your right thigh. And breathe. Here, 5. And 4. And 3. 2, inhale, reach forward. And exhale, warrior 2. And now in your warrior 2, knees and toes pointing in the same direction of your front foot, gazing over your front middle finger. Shoulders over your hips. If you need more depth, widen your stance. Always feel free to bring your feet in closer to one another. And reach forward in side angle pose. We'll take 5 breaths in side angle. So if you want to play with a bind, you can take a half bind, full bind, or birds of paradise. Gaze can be towards the floor, maybe up towards the ceiling. One last breath in. Hands to the mat and chaturanga. Step back and lower. Up dog. Down dog. Inhale your left leg up. And exhale, step between your hands. Crescent breathing. Again, finding your spacing here between your feet. Square hip. Light here in your chest. Extending through your fingertips. Now hands to heart center. Lean forward. Revolve right elbow, left thigh. You can always modify here by lowering your left knee or right knee down to the mat. Last 3 and 2. Inhale, reach forward, and exhale, warrior 2. Looking over your front middle finger. Again, shoulders over hips. Legs active, pressing down, squeezing in. Reach to the front, and side angle pose. Again, 5 breaths here. Feel free to reach to the ceiling. Half bind's an option, full bind's an option. Last breath in. And exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank and lower chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. And up on your toes and travel to the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Fold. Chair pose, breathe in. Hands together, seated prayer twist, left to right, breathe out. We'll just be here for 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Chair, breathe in. And then twist to the other side, breathe out. Hips lower than your heart. Knees in the same line. Chest stays lifted. Extending from your tailbone through the crown of your head. Last 3. Chair and 2. Inhale, chair. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift, separate your feet hips distant. Now you can bring your peace fingers to toes or slide your palms underneath your feet. Step your toes to wrist creases. Belly to thighs. And from here, more weight to your toes, lighter in your heels. And 1 more breath in. And release your grip as you breathe out. Halfway lift, inhale. Feet together and fold. Mountain pose. And palms to touch. An eagle on the right side, right arm underneath your left. And right leg over your left. On the 90-minute variation of this class, they'll do the balancing postures twice. And all the way through the spinal strengthening. And then they'll do 6 wheels. And every time they do 6 wheels, I'm like, why are we doing 6 wheels? There's so many wheels. But then you do them and you're like, okay, that was just like some mental resistance that was trying to stop me. And release and switch. Mountain pose. Hands together and take it over to the left. Left arm under. Left leg over. Weight in your right heel. Everything here squeezes to the midline of your body. Here, look through your arms. The soft, steady gaze. Last breath out. Inhale, unwrap. And hands together, heart center. And take a breath in. Breath out. Inhale, hands up. A dance on the right side, right foot, right hands. So knees stay in the same line. Now you're doing it so your hips don't shift. Just draw your right knee straight back. Kick and pull. Lift your chest. Maybe you look towards your left hand. Maybe you look towards the ceiling. Breathing here, 5, 4, 3, 2, and release, mountain pose. And go ahead and bring your left hand by your side. Left foot, left hand. And mindful here that there's an external rotation. So this way you can grab the inside of your foot, because if you have an internal rotation, that's for one, a deep rotation, then you can't get your arm high enough, like your range of motion's limited. So the external rotation is going to give you more space to lift. And if you can't grab there, you just stay on the top of your foot and then just draw back up and away. So take your dancer pose and breathe 5 and 4, 3, last 2 and 1, release. Mountain pose and hands together, heart center. Now shift your weight into your left leg, tree pose. Take your variation kickstand, foot to calf, foot to thigh. Just avoid pressing directly on the knee. So even here, a slight tuck in your tailbone. Squeeze your right glute so you can point your right knee in the same line here as your shoulders and hips. Hands can stay here or high and wide. And strength here in a strong left leg. One more breath in. Hands together, feet together, breathe out. Shift your weight to your right leg. And same thing, tree on the left side. Again, kickstand, foot to calf, foot to thigh. Active right leg, and your left foot actively presses into the leg as well, so they're both pressing into one another. Tuck the tailbone, squeeze the glutes. Tall through the crown of your head, hands together, reach high, reach wide. Maybe challenge yourself and close your eyes. And notice how that feels. Just one more breath in. And hands together, feet together, breathe out. And inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Hands to the mat, step back to plank and lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And down dog. They also do a transition that I'm not too fond of, where you go from down dog right into a triangle pose. I don't like that just because so many things need to happen. So I'll cue for it differently. Right leg up, and go ahead and step between your hands. Open to a warrior two. Set your footing here. Now flip your right hand, reverse triangle, straighten your right leg. Now triangle pose, bring your right hand to your right shin. Left arm up to the ceiling. You're pressing down, squeezing in here through your legs. Stacking shoulders, stacking wrists. Take one more breath in. Bend your front knee as you breathe out. And inhale, reverse warrior. And arms to a T. And inhale, parallel your feet to face the long side of your mat. And exhale, wide leg forward fold. Your variation here, peace fingers to toes, or grab the ankles or heels. You can make it active, you can make it passive. If you want to get inverted, feel free to get inverted. Last 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and come all the way up. And hands together overhead. And shorten your stance, step your left foot towards your right. And pivot on your heels and turn back to the front of the mat. So feet about hips distance apart. Right hip back, left hip forward. You can take whatever arm variation you want, but otherwise here taking a pyramid pose. Some people like reverse namaskar on the back. Otherwise you can just bring your hands to the front. Straight legs, weight evenly distributed between both feet. Right hip up and back, left hip down and forward. Now keep your left hand down. Revolve pyramid, open your right arm up. When you open your right arm up, still long here in your spine. From your tailbone through the crown of your head, right hip draws back. Left hip presses forward, breathe in. Now vinyasa, breathe out. And up dog. And down dog. Left leg high. Step between your hands. Inhale, warrior two. Stay for a breath out and flip your front hand. Reverse triangle, straighten your left leg. Triangle pose, left hand to your left shin, right arm up to the ceiling. One more breath out. Arms to a T, parallel your feet. This time, if you want, interlace your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers, lift your heart, and wide leg forward fold. Again, if you have a different variation you want to take, feel free to take it. Mindful here of where your weight is in your feet. And if it's in your heels and your hips are leaning back, See if you can bring it to your toes so you can stack hips, knees over your ankles. Last breath out, arms wide, flat back, all the way up. Maybe palms together, shorten your stance. So now you still got about 2 to 3 feet between your feet. Pivot on your heels, turn to the front. So feet about hips width distance, weight evenly distributed. Now pyramid pose, slowly take it down with your arm variation. Last breath out, right hand down. Inhale, revolves, open your left arm to the ceiling. Left hip back, right hip forward. Breathe in, hands to the mat. Step back and lower through chaturanga. Up dog, down dog. Shift forward to plank. Lower all the way down to your chest. Low cobra pose, tops of your feet down, and inhale, lift your heart. A light here in your hands. The shoulders can point down towards the floor, but you're still lifting. Elbows point directly back behind you. And one more breath in, and tap your chin, gaze over your right shoulder, relax your arms. Now palms face down, chin back to center, locust pose. Lift your chest, lift your legs, lift your arms. So legs squeeze in towards one another. Just a slight tuck in your chin so you're extending through the crown of your head. Press your navel into the mat, lift a little higher, then ground. Tap your chin, look over your left shoulder. It would feel good here, maybe rock your legs a little left to right, or your hips. Floor bow pose, chin back to center. Floor bow isn't in your practice. You can take another cobra, you can take another locust. Floor bows, heels to glutes. Hands grab the outside of your feet, roll your shoulders in, lift your chest. Kick your feet into your hands, lift your knees, lift your thighs. Tall through the crown of your head. Press your navel down, lift a little higher, breathe in, and release. Tap your chin, gaze over your right shoulder, rock your hips. Hands under your shoulders. And press up and take a seat on your heels. And pause here for a moment. Now camel pose. Knees, hips, shoulders stack. If you want, you can use a block here in between your thighs, just that way there's more leg engagement. While slide tucking your tailbone, hands down your back like you're sliding them in your pockets. Elbows draw in, hips stay forward, collarbones lift straight up, gaze straight up. This can be your camel pose. If you want to take it further, slowly look up, slowly look back. Here, 5, 4, 3, last 2, inhale, rise, and take a seat on your heels. And take a breath in, breath out. One more inhale. Now go ahead and swing your legs out in front of you. And plant your feet and lower all the way down to your back. Yep. So now prepping for our back bends. We'll do 3 of them. We'll do 1 bridge, 3 wheels. If you would like to, feel free to just take a supported bridge the entire time, or mix and match, do whatever you need to for yourself. All right. Heels to glutes, hands by your side, shoulders ground, chin slightly tucked, bridge pose, lift. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, and ground. Take a breath in and out. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out. Feel free to stick with bridge and lift your hips. Wheels, hands overhead, elbows over wrists. Tuck your tailbone, lift your hips, press into your hands, lift straight up. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, down and 2. Exhale, mindfully lower. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Bridge or wheel. Ground down. When you're ready, lift up this time for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, down and 2, and 1. Chin to chest. Hips ground. Bottoms of your feet together. Knees wide. Hand to your belly. Hand to your heart. Just allow your breath to move through you a few times without obstructing. Just letting everything move freely. And usually there's a core section, and there's some like ab work and stuff. But for the sake of time, we're not going to do that. Just go ahead and rock front to back, and we'll meet in a down dog, so however you need to get there. And from your down dog, right leg up, and pigeon on the right side. Right knee behind your right wrist, left leg straight back behind you. You can stay lifted upright, or feel free to take your expression of the pose. And their reason for less cueing is also just to provide space for silence and to hold that space for students, which I know can sometimes be difficult and challenging. But allowing people to sit with the discomfort of maybe the silent space and allowing them to ease into it. And slowly start to walk your hands back. And tuck your toes, lift your left knee, three-legged dog, shake it out. When you're ready, switch. Left leg up, left knee behind your left wrist. And go ahead and set yourself up. And slowly take it down. Or take it to your expression. And slowly walk your hands back. Now go ahead and lean over your left hip. And we'll take a double pigeon, or you'll stack your right shin over your left. And so right ankle over your left knee, right knee over your left ankle. Sit evenly here through both of your sits bones, grounded and tall. Now you can stay here. Lean forward. If this is too much on your knees, feel free to stay up, or you can even use a block in between your ankle and knee if that feels better. But if this feels all right and there's no pain, no discomfort, maybe walk your hands further out in front of you, but keep a lifted chest. And release, sit up. You can bring your hands behind you, maybe uncross your legs and let your knees knock left to right a couple times. And we'll switch. So right shin parallel to the top of the mat. This time your left leg on top. So left ankle over your right knee, left knee over your right ankle. Again, make sure you're sitting balanced and tall. And from here, seated forward fold, or folding forward over your pigeon, double pigeon, full pigeon. I don't know, there's a bunch of different names for this posture. And release. Hands behind you. You can uncross your legs. Again, let your knees knock left to right. Now we'll take a frog pose. So you can come onto the long side of your mat. You can keep your wrists underneath your shoulders. So start at a tabletop. And if this is too much on your knees, feel free to fold your mat over to give yourself some more cushioning. Or if you have any towels or pads, feel free to use those. Now to get into frog, I usually like coming down to my forearms. And then I slowly just start walking my knees away from one another. And flexing your feet. So eventually looking for more of a 90 degrees at your hips and your knees and your ankles. And gradually just working your way back. And notice if you really want to lean forward and see if you can gently press your hips back in line with your knees. Now mindful here not to dump into your shoulders or your low back. So you're still supporting your core. Slight tuck here in your tailbone and then a gentle press back. And to ease my way out of this, I like bringing my heels together first, then slowly pressing up onto my hands and walking my knees in last. Then gently take a seat over your legs. Legs out in front of you. And we'll do a single leg extension, right foot out, left foot against your inner right thigh. Grounded and tall. Square your chest over your right leg. If you need, bend your knee, flex your foot, and from here fold over your right leg. And release. And switch. Left foot out, right foot in. Grounded evenly here through both sit bones, hands high, square shoulders, square hips, bent left knee if you need. Hands under the ball mound of your foot. And we go under the ball mound of the foot so that way we can flex. That way the heel's the furthest part away from our body. Just helps get deeper into the back line of our legs. And then release and sit up. Both legs long. Flex your feet again. Bend your knees. Inhale, hands up. And then seated forward fold. Stay through an exhale. And go ahead and sit up tall. If you need to, scoot forward so your heels are at the edge of your mat. Tuck your chin to chest, lower down to your spine. Bring your right knee in, hands over your shin. Squeeze tight. If you need to, keep your left leg active, whether that's flexing your foot, toes to the ceiling, or pointing your toes. And when you're ready, twist. Left over right. You can reach with your right hand, look over your right shoulder. And just softening into the twist. One more exhale. And bring it back up. Give your right leg a squeeze and release. Left leg in, squeeze tight. Get an active right leg, whether that's flexed or pointed toes. Left arm or right arm over your left leg and twist. And back to center. Give your leg a squeeze and release. Then bring both knees in. Now you can keep your hands on your knees or take a happy baby. If you want to take it to a shoulder stand or plow. Just mindful again of what you need. And giving yourself the space to do whatever that is. If it's happy baby, attempting to keep as much of your spine grounded as you can, shoulders pull towards the floor. And when you're ready, bring both knees and thighs together, forehead up to meet your knees, squeeze into a little ball. One more breath in, and Savasana, breathe out. Take a breath in through your nose, fill your belly, fill your ribs to your collarbones. Pause for a moment at the top. And sigh it out. Two more like that, in through your nose. Fill up and pause. Sigh it out. Last one, slowly breathe in, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up, and hold. And sigh it out. Allow yourself to be still. To notice what you notice. To feel what you feel. Now, if you'd like to stay in Savasana longer, feel free. As when you're ready, small movements to fingers, toes, ankles, wrists. Maybe full body stretch. You can plant your feet, let your knees knock side to side. If you want a fetal pose, take one. And use whatever side you roll over to, that bicep as a pillow. Give yourself a moment here. When you're ready, you can use your top arm to press it down, lift up. It's coming into a seat. Finding one that's comfortable for you. You can sit balanced and you're grounded and you're tall and relaxed. And you can bring your left hand on your heart, right hand over your left. And acknowledge yourself for showing up. For giving yourself the space to feel. And giving yourself the space to make a decision as far as how you want to proceed. Learning to trust your gut, your intuition, and starting to practice and reinforce that. So thank you so much for sharing these last 45 minutes with me. It's been such a pleasure and such an honor. Until next time, I wish you all nothing but the very best. And namaste.